What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Why You Should Love with me, TheLonesomeRavidor. Now, in this week's Why You Should Love, we are doing a Why You Should Love on Portal 2. I absolutely adore this game, and for a million different reasons. But today I'm going to probably tell you 5 specific reasons as to why you should love it too. Okay, let's get this thing started. Number 1, I'm not too sure if it's just me, but often when I play a game, I often kind of like, when I play it and like really do enjoy it, I often give it certain like kind of characteristics behind it. Like I give it kind of like, I kind of personify the actual game itself. Like, so if a game is like very like brutal, like very aggressive, I kind of class as aggressive. Whereas Portal, I always class both like the first one and the second one as very charming. They're very charming kind of games, very funny, like relaxed, very entertaining kind of games, which you can kind of enjoy just by playing like casually, if that makes sense. And just through the charmingness of the game, like the charmingness of the dialogue between each character, charmingness of the simplistic gameplay, which is very like mixed with a puzzle mechanic and stuff like that. Just like the charmingness of the entire game altogether. Even the color features of the entire game, it's excellently well done, and the game itself feels very charming and very fun to play. Anyway, it's point number 2. When Portal 1 came out, Portal was a revolutionary kind of idea. It came up as a random kind of thing, which no one actually planned to be like a big thing to do, or like a big thing which people would really enjoy. But Portal actually became like a huge thing, mainly due to the fact that the gameplay was actually really, really unique. I mean, think about it though. Who would have thought like of making the entire game based around puzzles and portals? It's so cool, like what they come up with just like that. And that's just a fantastic reason to love it, because the fact that the game itself is such a unique kind of concept. With games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and stuff like that being copy and pasted so much these days, and FIFA and like all the NBA, the Fight Night games, stuff like that, all being copy and pasted so much now. Games that are unique are like so rare to find that it's so cool when you actually do. So I think that's definitely a good reason to why you should love Portal. Anyway, let's move on to my third point. As per ever, you guys and gals know exactly that I love my voice actors, and any game that has any of my cool voice actors in it, I absolutely adore. Portal 2 is one of the kind of games which he busts out the kind of like the celebrity card when it comes down to voice actors. Within Portal 2 actually includes the cast of Stephen Merchant and J.K. Simmons. Stephen Merchant, obviously known for performing alongside not Stephen Fry, often performing alongside the likes of Ricky Gervais and stuff like that. He was in the film The Dilemma. I don't know The Dilemma. It was called Hall Pass. I don't think the Dilemma. Obviously, J.K. Simmons, well known for the Spider-Man series, the original first 3, which the Sam Raimi directed ones. He played the John Jameson or something like that, I think it was, or was it? It was something like that. I can't remember exactly what the character was called, but he's like the main guy that worked at the Daily Bugle, and which Peter Parker worked for, and he's the guy that went, "Peter, give me your bitches," and stuff like that. I can't remember what he says, but he's just something along them lines. And obviously including there is obviously the person that's always in it is Ellen McLean, who does the voice of GLaDOS, who actually recently, well not recently, but at one point recently was, I meant to say recently, starred in, what was it called? Starred in Pacific Rim, alongside like the likes of Idris Elba, and all them lot. And she did the voice of like a random like voice in it. I mean, like being a lot like GLaDOS in a sense of being like the, not exactly like the robot commander, but like the announcer in a sense. I think is probably the best way to put it. But apart from that, obviously another voice actor which I absolutely adore is Nolan North, pops up in it again, only being like the odd occasional not exactly like big character in this, but he's still in it though, so I absolutely adore it. Anyway, let's move on to my 4th point. When games are created these days, like full AAA titles are created these days, some games really do miss exactly what games should be. Games should be interesting. Games should be what people should enjoy about watching these games. People should really enjoy playing and watching these games, and interestingly like taking into detail exactly what the game's all about. And this is one thing that Portal really does take it in well, and it gives you like a fantastic lore to like examine in a million different ways. I mean, there's just like small little Easter eggs around the map. You hear what people say specifically are said, and there's different things you find online. There's a bazillion and one things interesting about Portal, which you can just discover naturally and unnaturally if you just look up and like examine, like actually properly explore what is actually going on throughout the game, and like what goes on behind the scenes and stuff like that. You can actually really find out some like new and interesting facts about the game which you never knew about before, and it's like quite a cool like depends on how like much you enjoy the game to really decide on whether you really want to discover that much about the game altogether. So it's quite a cool, interesting kind of thing to do, especially if you really do enjoy the game. You can like then discover more about the game outside of the game, if that makes sense. I've kind of like said that completely wrong, but hopefully you guys will get what I mean. Like the lore behind the game is fantastic. Basically, the lore is like well made and well like renowned around the game altogether. Anyway, so we went to my 5th point. The gameplay itself, when you're actually playing the game, is absolutely fantastically addictive. Like I often sometimes have sprees of playing like the online levels on like the community-made maps on Portal 2 I often play them quite a while. Actually, like start the game and I'll play it for about an hour, like just going through quite a few maps. Obviously, the maps are quite short, so you find yourself pumping through quite a few maps in like in a row, and it's quite cool because you actually want to come out of it like, oh my god, I had a lot of fun doing all that. So obviously, it's quite cool to sort of like going through, actually enjoying playing the game naturally and stuff like that. And obviously, the gameplay itself is just so addictive from the enjoyable gameplay. It's so cool in the way that you can just keep playing and enjoy it, and like you want to keep going further and further and further and keep playing and playing and playing. And that's obviously a good thing they changed from going from the first to the second one, was that they actually included the fact that in the first one, there wasn't really like much to do after you complete the game, but when it came down to the second one, it actually did kind of move that across and add community levels and stuff like that, in which people could create their own stuff and you could explore other people's created stuff. Anyway, that's all from me for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Why You Should Love. It's been a very quick one, a very rushed one. I've been pretty busy recently, guys, so I do apologize for the very rushed and kind of like jabbered portal Why You Should Love. Anyway, I'm TheLonesomeRavidor. Once again, you guys be beautiful as ever. Say la vie, hasta la vista, and goodbye. Watch out!